The table was set. The candles flickered gently in the dim light of the restaurant. The wine was poured, the soft clink of glasses filling the space between us. It was supposed to be perfect. A quiet celebration of 6 years of marriage. Just me and Lisa, enjoying an evening together, a chance to reconnect. But even as I sat there smiling at her, I could feel the storm brewing. The unease had been creeping up on me for months. The late nights, the sudden trips she'd insisted on taking alone, the way she'd become more distant. I'd tried to tell myself I was just being paranoid, but deep down, I knew. Something wasn't right. Her laugh echoed across the table as she chatted with her friend Adam, who had joined us for dinner. He was a new addition to our social circle, someone she'd met through work a few months ago. At first, I had no reason to question their relationship, but over the last few weeks, I started noticing things. Little moments of intimacy between them that felt wrong. The lingering touches, the shared glances, the private jokes they whispered between each other that seemed to exclude me. But tonight, I was going to get the answers I needed. I had a plan, and it was time to execute it. "Here's to another year of marriage," Lisa said, lifting her glass with a smile. The gesture was rehearsed, like a performance she had perfected. I raised my glass too, but my eyes never left her. "Cheers," I replied, my voice steady, but inside my heart was pounding. I had spent the last few weeks carefully preparing for this moment. I wasn't going to let her off easy. No more pretending, no more being the fool. I had all the proof I needed, and tonight I was going to expose her. As we ate, I noticed Adam's hand brush against Lisa's, just a little too long. It was the smallest gesture, but it hit me like a punch to the gut. My blood began to simmer. I could feel the tension building like a rope pulled taut, ready to snap. That's when it happened. The wink. Lisa, in the middle of a conversation with Adam, glanced at him and winked. Slowly, deliberately, and without even trying to hide it. Her eyes lingered on him, and he responded with a subtle, satisfied grin. It was like a knife to my chest. The confirmation I had been dreading. The betrayal was real, and I had just witnessed it with my own eyes. I fought to keep my composure, but inside, a storm was raging. My fingers clenched around my glass, the urge to throw it across the table almost overwhelming. But I didn't. Not yet. I took a deep breath, focusing on the task at hand. I had to stay calm. I had to let the plan unfold. "Lisa," I said, my voice controlled, betraying none of the anger swirling inside me. "I have a gift for you." She looked up, her face lighting up with a familiar excitement. A gift. Of course, she was expecting jewelry. Something shiny, something to smooth over the cracks she had been creating in our marriage for months. She reached for the small velvet box I had placed on the table. Her fingers trembled as she opened it, her face falling when she saw the emptiness inside. "Where's the necklace?" she asked, her voice strained, almost panicked. I smiled inwardly, watching her try to hide the shock. She wasn't prepared for this. "I thought I'd do something a little different this time," I said casually, leaning back in my chair. "Something more revealing." Her eyes narrowed, confusion flickering in them. But before she could say anything, I pulled out the real gift, my trump card. I slid a small USB drive across the table toward her. "This," I said, my voice calm but carrying an edge, "is my gift to you." Her hand froze above the USB, her face going pale. I could see the gears turning in her head. She knew. She knew what this was. Her eyes darted nervously to Adam, who was now sitting silently, watching the exchange with a mixture of confusion and concern. What's this?" Lisa stammered, her composure slipping for the first time all night. "Go ahead," I said, my eyes never leaving hers. "Plug it in." She hesitated for a moment longer, and then with trembling hands, she slid the USB drive into the projector I'd set up earlier in the evening. The images flickered to life on the wall in front of us. Photos of Lisa and Adam at a cafe, laughing, touching. Another shot from a weekend getaway she'd insisted was just with friends, but I could see now it was a lie. My pulse was racing, but I kept my voice steady. You never thought I would find out, did you? That I would put the pieces together. Lisa's hand flew to her mouth as the next image appeared on the screen. A shot of her and Adam in his apartment, her hand on his chest, her lips barely an inch away from his. The video that followed was even worse. It was short, but damning. It captured them together in his bed, laughing and touching in ways that no married person should ever share with someone else. I saw Lisa's face crumble as the video played. She went from disbelief to panic in a matter of seconds. Her eyes darted between me and Adam as if trying to find a way to escape. But there was no escape now. I had her. No, she whispered. But the damage had been done. The silence between us was deafening, broken only by the soft hum of the projector. I stood up slowly, my hands gripping the edge of the table. You think you can just do this? You think you can betray me and act like it's nothing? Adam's smug expression faltered, and for the first time I saw him show a hint of fear. He stood up, backing away, but I wasn't done. You, I said, my voice dangerously low, are a coward. You know what you've done, and now you'll face the consequences. I took a step toward him, my fists clenched, my body trembling with barely contained rage. Adam's eyes widened and I could see him panic, but I wasn't going to hit him. Not yet. No. I needed him to understand something far worse. You think you can take what's mine? I spat. You think you can come into my home, into my marriage, and just tear it apart? Number, I'm not letting you off that easy. I turned back to Lisa. She was still sitting there, staring at the ground, her face pale, her hands trembling. The woman who had once been my whole world was now nothing more than a stranger, a liar, a cheat. And I wasn't going to let her pretend otherwise. I'm done, I said, my voice steady now, even though the storm inside me was still raging. You've ruined everything, our marriage, our life together, it's all gone. I reached down and pulled the ring from my finger. The gold glinted in the low light, but it meant nothing to me now. I dropped it onto the table with a dull thud. Consider this your last gift, I said, turning to walk away. Congratulations, Lisa. You've destroyed it all. The sound of my footsteps echoed in the empty space as I walked out, leaving them both behind. Two people who had betrayed me in the worst way possible. The aftermath came swiftly. The gossip started. The whispers of our broken marriage spreading like wildfire. Adam's career was ruined, and Lisa, despite all her attempts to reach out to apologize, found herself alone, facing the consequences of her actions. The divorce was quick and brutal. As for me, I walked away with nothing but the ashes of my former life. But in the quiet moments that followed, I realized something. I was free. The chains that had bound me for so long were finally broken. And while the road ahead would be painful, I knew I would rebuild. This was the end of one chapter, but the beginning of another. One where I would never again let anyone take my trust for granted.